Hey there Wargamers, welcome to a new video review. Today we will discover Spectre Operations, an incredibly detailed modern skirmish wargame, that will be the delight of any soft-air, Call of Duty or Special Forces enthusiast.
Where am I? Where is the rest of my team? Who are you and to which terrorist organization you belong? There must have been a breach in the information network.
You made a big mistake by kidnapping me like that. I was out on a contract. Release me now and you'll get to live another day.
No, don't pull up my gas mask. Are you from the monolith or military? I swear I haven't found any artifact yet. Tell Smirovic, he want me to not go around at night.
Whoa! Sukabliat! Did you turn off the oven? I had some pierogi almost ready. Whoa! What do you want from me? Are you here to steal my precious mayonnaise?
Silence! You are here today because all of you share a common objective. You've all been given false intel on the target, because this isn't some hostage to recover, a target to assassinate, or a strange artifact. And no, Mr. Boris, it isn't even a pierogi recipe. Spectre Operation, it's a war game. Please, Captain, untie them and start the briefing. Have you ever hoped to find a way to recreate all your favorite action scenes from movies such as American Sniper or Black Hawk Down? The video game experience from Counter-Strike or Payday? And what about all the Tom Clancy's novels you have read and sit there in your bookcase? Spectre Operations is exactly that, a narrative war game where you'll be able to play from Cold War to ultra-modern combats in the near future.
Wait, what do you mean by narrative? I want action, not listen to some kind of story.
It's important to understand that Spectre belongs to the narrative types of wargames and not the classical ones you are used to. It's not meant for those who like to meddle with points and rules shenanigans, but rather the epic feeling of saving an hostage while taking down all the enemies silently in our house. Alright, what kind of equipment are you going to need to play this game? First of all the miniatures must be realistic, so we are talking about civilians, modern soldiers, bandits, bank robbers, members of a Mexican cartel, and I suggest you to buy these minis from Spectre's Miniatures range, Empress Miniatures, Footsore North America, especially if you are Polish and like me you want to Grom, and an Australian brand named Eureka Miniatures. For a start, I recommend to buy 4-6 elite operators and a dozen or 20 militia terrorists. It all depends on the scenario you want to recreate. Then you'll need an inch ruler, a handful of dice, d6 as always, and the battlefield is a 3x3 or 90x90. The game is also playable on a larger field, because you could play inside a mall full of hostages during a summer Sunday gone wrong, or in a favela full of cartel criminals.
And how does the basics of this operation work?
Spectre is a turn-based activation game, meaning that you'll have to activate all of your miniatures before the enemy does the same. This allows for a realistic and coordinated use of fire and movement, like in real life for assault teams. Each model has a 90 field degree of view in front of him, allowing the use of blind spots and back attacks. As in any other wargame, each miniature is provided with a stat profile. We have Command, which defines model's leadership, tactics and discipline, Agility, used for some different tests, but mainly for movement, Shooting, the model's skill at ranged attack, Defense, used primarily for evading fire, hand-to-hand combat and generally not being hit, and Melee for close combat when needed. Yeah, but I don't care about your filmsy arms. You said something about weapons, right? So tell me their profile. I'll tell you about weapons later, wait a second. For now, just know that they have a class, range, lethality, to see if you actually killed or harmed the target, and a penetration value against Kevlar armor, cover, vehicles, and objects. Then there is a long list of special rules and stuff, but we'll see this later. Oh, okay then. I'll have some vodka while you finish talking about the boring stuff. The turn itself is composed by Initiative, where both players determine with a roll who will activate first, and keep in mind that this roll sometimes gets modified by many different in-game factors. Then we have Command, Movement, Tactical Action and the Combat phase. During the command phase we have Overwatch, where we can wait to see the enemy and actually shoot him, used mainly to protect the teammates or a specific zone of the battlefield, because maybe you don't want the enemy to capture that specific spot, hostage, or a briefcase with confidential documents. Scan, if you need to find concealed enemy troops inside some bushes in the forest, a sniper hiding on a rooftop, then you can break down your squad. If you need a smaller unit for any reason, rely the morale of your troops when suppression and being pinned down can be a problem, and some other commands issued only to the leader of your team or your commander. These are very interesting, so bear with me. We have a fire control order when you want to focus all the firepower of your team on a singular spot or enemy. The bonus of this command action is that your troops will be more precise and will be using also the shooting stat of your commander if higher. Commanders can even call for reinforcements, the most feared order when facing militia or criminal forces. And last, because it's the most powerful one, the off-table assets. You can call for artillery precision strikes, bombardments, smoke screens, helicopter raids with a minigun or a sniper aboard, and many other things.
Whoa, so many just in this phase. And you haven't even mentioned the other yet.
Standard movement is 6 inches for all the human beings, because we have also dogs, drones, vehicles, so there is a quite big range of different movements. In the tactical action phase you can sprint if you want to move more, or you can make a cautious move if you want to be stealthy or focus on not being hit by bullets. You can even move in close combat too, move through flames, and use your teammates as a human ladder if you want to cross walls or other things. Other tactical actions are to call a medic and patch up your teammates when they get hurt during the battle. You can deploy a non-lethal grenade like a stun one or a flashbang, and also breach doors, windows, fences, and even concrete walls.
When life gives you explosives, make a breach action.
Cut off with this capitalist bullshit and let the captain tell us how to shoot properly. Anyways, here it comes the most interesting part of the turn, the combat phase. You roll a d6 and add your modifiers, depending on the range, type of weapon you're using, and even some special rules, against the enemy's defense, plus his modifiers. If you reach and if you make more than the target's defense, you hit. Then you have to check the lethality roll to actually see if you wounded or killed the enemy. In case of a wound, there is an entire table of interesting effects to apply. Beware of bleeding out. A bad wound can render you incapable to continue a fight. And you might even die if untreated.
And what about grenades and killing bandits with them? Are there any lethal grenades?
There is plenty of them, like in the real world. We have hand grenades, mortars, grenade launchers, and there are also rules to make them bounce against the walls and furniture inside the room, and shocking effects. You can also get instantly killed if you're really close to an exploding grenade, so... If this game is so real, can you prove me that I can kill anybody with my pencil or a belt? Melee combat, Mr. Baba Yaga. Simple and effective as it has always been. You can charge enemies, shoot them point blank, or make silent takedowns like you did in your movies. And you can train your troops to be very effective in close combat by adding some special rules, but as you may know, in real life killing is not the only option. You can make an enemy or a civilian unconscious by knocking them out, capture them, cuff them, and drag them away, and if you want you can even conceal the enemy's bodies from unwanted attention.
Ooh, I just want to call my comrades and order some spetnuts along with some kvass. Hello, Igor.
Hey, Boris!
Da, order the game.
Soldiers and Mr. Boris, we have now finished the basic briefing of Spectre's operation. The real and interesting part comes now.
Расцветали яблони и груши, поплыли туманы над рекой, выходила на берег.
Let's see the different tiers or levels of troops you can field. We have elite operators, so skilled and well equipped, but each one of them is almost worth an entire platoon of soldiers by himself. Professionals like Alpha, with very good training and equipment. Trained soldiers like SWAT members or agents. Militia, who usually represents insurgents, terrorists, criminals, or third world armies. And untrained, like street criminals, cartel bandits, and people like Boris.
What? I'm at least professional tier. Do you want to see how good I am at opening a jar of pickles? And who's professional now, huh?
The more standardized way to play the game is to download from the website the point value of more or less everything.
Understood, Captain, but I was wondering if the game had infiltration and night ops rules. I like such a stealthy approach.
By using alertness detection and hidden markers, you can deploy your troops without making your opponent understand where they actually are. For each hidden troop, you place two 20mm markers. You can even move separately. This is very tactical because the enemy player won't know which one is the real or the fake. A hidden model moves like a normal one and has access to all the different special actions, tacticals, commands.
So be sure to use your subsonic ammo, suppressors, and night vision goggles. Don't be a casual.
Unalerted model instead cannot attack, make tactical or command actions. They can hear the enemy or discover them by making a direct contact. They can receive a radio call from a team member who has already discovered the enemy, or hearing the commotion caused by a casualty nearby, can raise alarm. And now I'll give you some examples of how the game can be insanely detailed. You can pick up weapons and equipment from the ground, find it on the battlefield, or steal it from the enemies. You can mentor less trained and skilled troops by putting a higher tier level soldier who will keep an eye on the students and guide them in the battle. Use vehicles of all kinds in the game, like cars, armored cars, troop transports. Fire with them, take cover, ram over vehicles and people alike, or even break through a wall if you want to rob a bank. You can use dogs, flying drones, ground drones, and each one of them will have a lot of special rules and uses. They can become your eye and vision on the battlefield, sometimes explode or attack the enemy, and help you discover something difficult to see.
Weapons. I don't give a shit about drones, fancy American cars. I just want to hear about weapons and their use, okay? Can you finally shut up?
Weapons fire in a variety of ways, from single shots to automatic, rapid fire, or rotary cannons. There are also templates for explosion and deviations, flamethrowers, incendiary and phosphorus grenade or ammunitions.
Burn them all.
You can even choose which type of munition to use with a shotgun and how to employ a sniper rifle. Do you prefer an headshot or take out a spotlight? You can even shoot at the driver of a car. Red dots, scopes, laser and thermal sights are just some of the attachments you can add. Fancy some mines, or maybe some claymores? You can place or hide them, and many scenarios already begin with a lot of hidden mines and traps on the ground. An entire armory is at your disposal, also for body armors with different uses, ballistic shields, lockpicks, diving suits, flashlights, and much more. The last part of the rulebook is dedicated to scenarios and campaign creation. There are many different pre-made missions to get you started, rules to handle civilians and their automatic movement, patrols for solo play if you want. Sometimes model can be asleep, drunk, or even under drugs.
I'm not going to complain because everything you said is nice and all, but I couldn't stop asking myself why you kidnapped me. This isn't a post-apocalyptic game after all, so why bring me here?
Take it easy, Stalker, you won't be asked to get out of here, because there is something in Spectre for everybody. An entire chapter devoted to chemical, biological or nuclear weapons. Unforeseen hazards may afflict a war zone area, and sometimes you're going to need respirators, protective and hazmat suits. There are rules for chemical or radiological poisoning, weather condition rules, if you want to play during a blizzard or with some fog, a stormy rain, and others. So okay, I may have reviewed the game for you, but what do I think about it? I always struggle to find games that satisfy me, because after 18 years of gaming, I've tried more or less anything. I discovered that I tend to like very detailed games. The more rules I'm going to find in a rulebook, the better it is. Some may find Spectre Operation a little bit too complex, and the question is if actually so much detail is needed in a wargame. And the answer for me is yes, and I'd love for all the games to be like that. Spectre will keep you occupied for many months just to understand all the game and try all the different equipment you may find inside. So I'm very happy to have finally found the time to buy it and try it. This is a huge thumbs up for me. Go on the website, buy the rulebook and download all the free material like Zombie Invasion or even Mr. Baba Yaga's profile so you can actually play him in the game. If you are intrigued like me, join the Facebook group. Everyday new content, miniatures and shoots from the Warzone are posted there. As always, remember to press the like button if you like the video, subscribe to the channel and spread the word by sharing it on your social media. Drop a comment down below and suggest any game you'd like to see reviewed by me, and I'll see you next time with a review of Dropfleet Commander.